From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update.
Dennis's Heating and Air Conditioning is Northern California's premier heating and air conditioning contractor. From residential housing, large commercial projects, installation to repair, sheet metal fabrication, and everything in between, we are your go-to heating and air conditioning specialist.
Well, good evening, everyone. You think about what we saw over the weekend. We got that taste of spring, if you will. Absolutely gorgeous. A well-deserved break. But winter is taking a grasp on us again. Temperatures, you notice today, have already dropped. Not a lot of rain, not a lot of snow, and really drier conditions over the next few days before the main event arrives Thursday and lasts at least through Saturday, if not possibly into Sunday. Now, with that, snow levels starting off fairly high on Thursday, but they will drop, especially going into your Friday and Saturday. We'll get into that a little bit later as far as just how low they'll get, and we'll also talk about the potential for travel delays. Friday and Saturday in particular are the best days for those travel delays. But tonight, as we start to clear things out, I think it's going to make for a fairly chilly night for the coast, inland, and Trinity County. But again, mainly dry conditions, not much in the way of rain or even snow developing. I mean, even the valley could be looking at temperatures close to freezing, so there may be some patchy frost for parts of the valley here tonight and tomorrow morning, and not to mention many of the higher elevations as well. But that cooler air is still going to be in place, so I'm not expecting temperatures to really increase a whole lot, despite the fact that it will be drier, especially for tomorrow. But here's what I'm watching with the approaching storm system. And the main event, as I mentioned, will be Thursday, quite possibly through Sunday, but mainly through Saturday. Now, I'm watching snow levels, as I mentioned, starting off fairly high on Thursday, 3,500 to 4,500 feet. But then by Friday and Saturday, now we're talking possibly down to 1,000 feet and locally lower. So what does that mean, locally lower? Well, I think around the north end of the valley, city of Shasta Lake, Redding, could be looking at the very least a rain-snow mix. Now, if it gets low enough and heavy enough, now we're talking about the potential for some accumulating snow in the city of Shasta Lake and Redding. But, that's something we'll have to monitor here very closely. As of right now, no guarantees on that. But when we're talking about snow levels this low, now you're talking heavy snow and the potential for travel delays, and not to mention the potential for highway closures, such as I-5, Highway 299. Right? So these are things we've really got to take into account if we need to travel on Friday and Saturday. But on top of that, we've got gusty winds in the forecast, which means blowing snow. And with gusts possibly upwards of 40, 50 miles per hour, you're talking about the potential for power outages as well. So really a lot to monitor here as we go into the end of the week. But tomorrow, gorgeous, another gorgeous day. Still cool, right? But at least it's still dry. Then we go into Wednesday. Around noon, the showers kick in for the coast. Okay, and then we go in the afternoon, maybe some light showers for the valley, and then kind of kicking eastward here as we take you into Wednesday night. As I mentioned, snow levels fairly high, really probably closer to 4,500 feet. They'll slowly lower as we take you on into your Thursday. All right, now we're going to talk about the winds here real quickly, because you can see here for today, the winds have been pretty gusty, especially off to the east. The winds are dying down for your Tuesday. But as mentioned, as Thursday's storm system approaches, the winds will start to pick up as well. So you can see by Wednesday at noon, picking up a little bit in some areas, especially for the coast. Wednesday at about 10 p.m., look at the winds really picking up, especially along the coast and even the higher elevations. So Wednesday night into Thursday is when those winds will most likely begin to pick up again. So let's take a look at that overall pattern setup. So we go to drier conditions here for your Tuesday, not to mention a good portion of Wednesday as well. But by Wednesday and Thursday, there's the next storm system moving in. Snow levels, as mentioned at this point, 3,500, 4,500 feet. Colder air still off to our west, but eventually by the time we get into Friday and Saturday, we're seeing those snow levels drop down to as low as 1,000 feet and locally lower. This is when we talk about the potential for travel delays and road closures. All right, again, that's Friday and Saturday. By Sunday, it looks like it's beginning to break apart. Maybe a few snow flurries left over, and then we may see a light shower or two develop here on Tuesday of next week. But it looks like drier conditions going into next week. Now let's take a look at the forecast rainfall totals. Now, this is not a heavy rain producer. I'm expecting once all is said and done through Sunday, the valley could pick up about an inch, if not a little bit more, once all is said and done. But we're expecting a lot more rainfall out along the coast. and looking at the forecast snow totals, this is not an official forecast. You need to make that very clear. It's way overdoing it for the higher elevations, not to mention the fact that it is showing the potential for some accumulating snow for places like Redding, Red Bluff, and it looks like not even Chico at this point. But you get the idea. What we're seeing here is a potential for heavy snow in the mountains and maybe a bit of a mix towards the end of the north end of the valley. So let's kind of take a look at the overall setup with the temperatures and where this colder air is coming from. So this is the shot of cooler air today that we saw. It dropped our temperatures down, right? Now that's moving out, and this Arctic blast is going to be pushing down to the south through this week. It's going to take its time. So by Thursday, we're seeing that rain kick in, and not to mention snow in the higher elevations, as I mentioned, around 3,500, 4,500 feet. So that's Thursday. There's the colder air. That colder air then moves over us by Friday and Saturday. That's when I expect the lowest snow levels. That's when I expect the coldest shot of air to move through. And then that moves out by the beginning of next week. However, we still have some colder air off to our west, which is going to stay in place, keeping our temperatures fairly low. In fact, looking at the outlook for March 3rd through the 7th, we're looking at very good chances of seeing below normal temperatures. That's what that darker shade of blue is. So it's looking pretty chilly here over the next 10 days or so. Now we look at the wave heights, you can actually start to see that they are dropping slightly for your Tuesday, and not to mention at least for your first part of Wednesday. But by Wednesday evening into Thursday, those wave heights may start to increase as that storm system approaches. So marine forecast for your Tuesday, north winds at 5 to 10 knots. Waves from the northwest at 10 feet at about 13 seconds. And there you can see that small crept advisory. Mainly through this evening. All right, we take you into tonight. Yeah, those cold temperatures. I think we could see some patchy frost for parts of the valley here for tonight and into tomorrow morning in teens and 20s for the higher elevations. Upper 20s for Trinity County, low to mid 30s here for the inland areas, and mid to upper 30s out along the coast here for tonight. So we look at our Trinity County neighborhood forecast, and you can see temperatures for your Tuesday in the low 50s. I've got you dry Tuesday. I've got you dry most of the day on Wednesday. But as I mentioned, by Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, we start to see the chance for showers kick in, especially for the coast. In fact, I've included a better chance for showers by noon for the coast on Wednesday. And then, of course, that off and on chance continuing through the weekend. 52 degrees for a high in Smith River, 50 in Gas Key. There's Oric about 49, and Orleans about 49 degrees. Here's your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. You can see temperatures will be in the low to mid 40s to the west, but off to the central and eastern portions, like Tennant, for example, about 38 and 36 degrees for Doris. And your Modoc County neighborhood forecast, not a very warm day for your Tuesday, only reaching the mid to upper 30s. Some of the warmer spots like Aden with a high of about 40 degrees. In your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast, temperatures in the mid 40s, give or take, depending on where you are. 47 for Chester, although a bit warmer out in the foothills, with Shingletown about 52 and Paradise 55 degrees. And your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Haas Farms, temperatures will be in the low 60s for places like Chico and Hamilton City, 61 for Willows, Elk Creek about 59, and Pasquinta 57 degrees. We take you up north, also right around 60 for Redding, 55 for Whiskeytown, Lakehead, a high of about 57, Palisadro 60, and Red Bluff, a high of 60 degrees. So let's take a look at that 7-day outlook, and there it is. Dry today and dry most of Wednesday, but by Wednesday afternoon, maybe a chance for showers kicking in. Better chances for showers for Thursday and Friday. Snow levels will still be fairly high at that point. Now, I'm expecting the potential of a mix, possibly even as early as Friday, but the coldest air kind of moves in Friday into Saturday. Now you can see that mix, and snow levels around 1,000 feet. That could continue into Sunday as well. So again, we are looking at the potential for, at the very least, a mix sometime around Friday into Saturday and maybe into Sunday, but it looks like for now we should dry things out by Monday.